On a rainy afternoon, the sound of water tapping against the small apartment window was the only thing filling the room. Sarah sat cross-legged on the floor, surrounded by a half-open cardboard box labeled in her late grandmother's careful handwriting, old memories. She had promised her mother she'd help clear out the storage unit after Nanny's passing. But what she hadn't expected was how heavy it would feel to touch these things, faded scarves that still smelled faintly of jasmine perfume, handwritten recipes stained with turmeric, postcards from places no one in the family ever remembered her visiting. Sarah reached deeper into the box, her fingers brushing against something smooth and mother-bound. Pulling it out, she realized it was a small travel pouch, the kind people used decades ago to hold important documents. She unzipped it, half expecting to find an old train ticket or maybe a photo. Instead, she froze. Inside was a passport, not the one her grandmother had always kept in the kitchen drawer for emergencies, but another one and a different name. The photo was unmistakable, her Nani, at least 40 years younger, smiling faintly, but with a sharpness in her eyes Sarah had never seen before. The name read Lala Rahman. Sarah's breath caught in her throat. She whispered it aloud, the syllables feeling foreign yet oddly familiar. Who was Lala Rahman? Why did her grandmother have a completely different identity? She turned the pages, finding visa stamps from cities she'd never heard Nani talk about: Beirut, Athens, Istanbul. The dates didn't match any family trips. In fact, they fell in years when, according to family stories, Nani was raising Sarah's mother alone in Karachi, working double shifts at the tailor shop. A shiver ran through Sarah's spine. She glanced toward the kitchen where her mother was, making tea, the familiar sound of the kettle whistling. Should she ask right now, or keep looking before opening a door she might not be able to close? The kettle's whistle faded into the clinking of cups as Sarah's mother entered the room, carrying 2 steaming mugs of chai. Her eyes softened at the sight of Sarah surrounded by boxes, but then narrowed slightly when she noticed the passport in her daughter's hand. "Where did you find that?" she asked, her voice sharper than Sarah had ever heard it. Sarah hesitated, fingers tightening around the worn leather cover. "In Nani's things, but this isn't her name. Who is Lala Rahman?" Her mother froze, the color draining from her face. She set the mugs down with a slight tremor, avoiding Sarah's gaze. "Some things are better left where they were found," she whispered. That answer only deepened Sarah's curiosity. "You mean secrets from 40 years ago? Why would Nanny hide this from us?" Her mother sank into the old armchair, her eyes darting toward the rain streaking the window. "Your Nanny. She wasn't always the woman you knew. Before she came to Pakistan, she lived a life dangerous enough to cost her everything if anyone found her." Sarah leaned closer, heart pounding. What life? What happened to her? Her mother sighed, the sound heavy with decades of silence. She was involved with people who didn't just cross borders, they erased them. Smugglers, spies, I don't even know all of it. But one day, she had to run. And Layla Rahman disappeared forever. Sarah's mind spun. The stamps in the passport suddenly felt like pieces of a puzzle she had no picture for. So this was her escape plan. Her mother nodded slowly, and she kept it maybe to remember who she used to be, or maybe because a part of her never stopped looking over her shoulder. A knock at the apartment door broke the moment. 3 slow raps, followed by silence. Her mother stiffened instantly, her eyes locking on Sarah's. "Put that passport back in the pouch? Now," she whispered. The knock came again, louder this time. Sarah's hands trembled as she zipped the pouch, her heart racing. Whoever was outside knew something. And in that moment, Sarah realized her grandmother's past wasn't buried. It had just been waiting. The third knock wasn't just louder, it carried weight, like it knew it would be answered. Sarah's mother didn't move, didn't even breathe, her eyes darting toward the door and back to Sarah. "Don't make a sound," she mouthed, but it was too late. A voice floated through the wood, deep and deliberate. "Lila." "I know." "You're in there." Sarah's blood ran cold. Lila, her grandmother's hidden name, the one she had only learned an hour ago. She turned to her mother, who was already pale, her hands gripping the armrest until her knuckles whitened. "Mom, they think Nani's here," she whispered. Her mother shook her head slowly. "They don't think Sarah. They know exactly what they came for." The handle rattled. The chain lock held, but the door pushed against it with sudden force. Sarah's mother shot up from the chair and rushed to the small desk in the corner, pulling open a hidden drawer. Inside, wrapped in cloth, was a small brass key and a folded map. She shoved them into Sarah's hands. "If they get in, you run. You take this key, this map, and you go to the place marked with the X. Don't stop for anything." The pounding grew more aggressive now, each hit vibrating through the floor. "Lila, you've had 40 years to disappear. It's over." The voice roared. Sarah's mind spun with questions. Who was this man? Why was her grandmother's name still dangerous after all these years? Before she could speak, the chain snapped. With a metallic scream, the door swung open, revealing a tall figure in a long, rain-soaked coat. His eyes were sharp, his face lined with time and anger. His gaze locked onto the pouch still sitting on the table. "There it is," he said, stepping forward. "The passport." "And the key." Sarah instinctively clutched the key tighter in her fist. "Who are you?" she demanded. The man smiled, but it wasn't kind. "Let's just say I'm the man your grandmother stole her second life from." The air felt heavier, every second stretching like a thread about to snap. Sarah realized this wasn't just about the past anymore. Whatever her grandmother had done, it had finally caught up to her family, and now it was her turn to decide whether to run or face the storm head on. The man stepped forward, his boots thudding on the wooden floor like a slow countdown. Sarah's mother instinctively put herself between them, but he barely glanced at her. His eyes were locked on Sarah's clenched fist. "You don't know what you're holding?" he said, his voice low but cutting. Sarah's heart pounded. "Then tell me," he smirked. "It's not just a key, it's an exit. a way to erase a name, a past, even a whole life. Your grandmother used it once, but only once. The second passport was supposed to be mine. Her mother's voice trembled. Layla took it to save us. You were already gone, Farid. Farid's jaw tightened. Gone? I was buried alive under a name I couldn't escape. She ran, I stayed. Now it's my turn. Before Sarah could react, he lunged. Her mother shoved him back, yelling, "Go, Sarah." Now, the map in Sarah's pocket felt like it was burning through her clothes. She bolted for the back door, the sound of the struggle behind her filling the hallway. The rain outside was relentless, soaking her within seconds. She followed the map's ink lines, her shoes splashing through puddles until she reached a crumbling stone wall at the edge of town. The X on the map matched a tiny rustic gate hidden behind vines. She slipped the brass key into the lock. It turned with a satisfying click. The gate swung inward, revealing an old underground passage lit by a single flickering bulb. She hesitated until she heard footsteps splashing in the rain behind her. Farid's shadow appeared at the gate's edge. "Give it to me, Sarah. You don't know what you're walking into." She backed away, deeper into the tunnel. "Neither do you," she shouted. The passage twisted and narrowed until it opened into a small chamber. In the center stood a weathered desk with a single leather-bound book. She opened it. Inside were rows of names, each one crossed out except for two: Layla, Rahman, and Sarah. Rahman, her grandmother's neat handwriting filled the margins. One life given, one life owed. Farid entered, his coat dripping, his eyes wild. "The passport," he growled. Sarah held it out, then ripped the pages from the spine. The underground echoed with the sound of tearing paper. Farid froze, his face collapsing into disbelief. "You fool, that was your only way out," he shouted. Sarah met his gaze, steady now. "No, it was my way to stay." Farid's shoulders sank, the fight gone from his body. Slowly, he turned and disappeared back into the rain. Sarah stood alone, the ruined passport in her hands, the chamber silent except for her own breathing. She didn't know what future waited outside that tunnel, but for the first time she knew exactly who she was, and she wasn't running anymore. She closed the gate behind her, the brass key still warm in her palm, and walked back toward the storm.